we're back with another rider, another episode. Today we have Emma, and Emma's going to tell us about her life in New Zealand. So why did you go to New Zealand?
Oh, I was approaching 30 and I was having what I referred to at the time as my midlife crisis. I was living in Cumbria. I haven't lived there all my life, but I was like, I need to get out and do something. So I was like, I'm going to move abroad. New Zealand, relatively easy to get into. And that's what I'm in there.
Okay, so I'm surprised you didn't pick Australia. A lot of people run to Australia.
Spiders.
Oh, so New Zealand doesn't have spiders?
You don't have big spiders. To be honest, it was one reason why I didn't really want Australia was because of the deadly animals.
Okay, oh, fair enough. At least you know what you like and you know what you don't like in that respect. So when you got there, so what you told your parents that you're going away?
Yes.
How did they take that?
My dad was like, good for you. My mum was distraught. I'm an only child.
Oh,
So,
oh no, your dad said good for you.
Yeah, well, my dad was like good on you kind of thing for going and seeing the world. My dad was in the army, so
I was going to ask you.
the world.
For some reason I just sensed that. What regiment?
Kingston Scottish Borders, QSB.
Okay, I was in the Royal Marines.
Oh wow, cool.
Yeah, so yeah,
Cool.
okay, yeah. So yeah, no, I see where your dad says, yeah, that's good. Yeah, go and see the world. Yeah, make the most of it. Did he give you a warning talk about people?
He didn't, to be honest. I think I'd lived away from home like a long time before that. I went to uni, so kind of fending for yourself, although you've got the safety strings of parents. But I don't know, maybe he sensed I had my head screwed on.
Yeah, well, yeah, you don't seem like you don't know.
Yeah, I think he was just like, stay in touch kind of thing. That was,
Yeah. Oh, go check in.
Check
in every so often. Okay, only child. Okay. So when you went there, did you have a plan for a job? What was the case?
I did. So that was. I wasn't, and I think this is like an age thing as well, because I was a little bit older.
You was in your 20s then?
Yeah, I was 20. I would have been 28 when I made the decision. I think I was. No, I would have been 29 when I made a decision, actually 30 when I ended up moving, but I'd like planned that for about 4 months.
So you worked really hard, you saved every penny.
Yeah, and I didn't want to, I wanted to go out with the security of a job. I didn't want to just go out there and wing it. So I was applying for jobs, doing interviews.
Out of curiosity, how does that work? Because you're a British citizen.
Yes, yeah.
They're a Commonwealth country.
Yeah.
Do you just automatically have the right to go and work there, a bit like the EU? Or
no, so you have to apply, and it may have changed now, a working holiday visa. So a working holiday visa, it grants you, I think at the time you can be in a country for 2 years, but you can only work there for a total of 1 year. I ended up working for 2 years, but I got a sponsorship extension through my workplace. But that's one of the things when I said like New Zealand would take anyone. I was interested in Canada. There was a lot more competition, so I think they had like a thing of applications open for the work and holiday visa.
Is that competition coming from Britain or the world? Because does it open up like a select, I don't know if you know, select, like we're going to take 500 from England, 300 from Scotland. Do you see what I mean? There's a quota.
Sure. I imagine it must be based on regions.
Yeah.
They maybe have an overall quota, and then it's proportionate to, I guess, regions or continents at the least. Yeah. So I had to apply for a working holiday visa and wait for that to come through before I could do anything.
Okay.
And you had until you were 30, so that was. So
after 30, you can't do it.
No.
So you just got in there.
I just got in, so you can. It's valid for up to a year. You have to use it within a year. So at the time, I think things may have changed now.
Did you have to pay for it?
Yeah, I can't remember how much it was, to be honest. I think it was maybe a couple £100.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it was small fry compared to like
Yeah.
actually moving out there.
Okay. And what was going through your mind when you were packing? Would you have an imposter syndrome? Did you think, am I really doing this? Or were you just thinking, Dad was in the military,
Yeah.
I'm part of him, he's in me, he's with me, we're doing this?
Yeah, I think it was just excitement, and there's so much you're having to do as well, and then there's so many like farewell drinks and stuff. You kind of, I guess you don't really, well, I didn't certainly have like time to really think and probably for it to sink in, not until I was out there and living with a bunch of randoms in a completely different country and different city.
I get it, you didn't want them to ask for their drink money back. You're not going, exactly. You owe me 200 quid.
Yeah, and people like, we spend a lot of money on these banners of All Blacks and seeing New Zealand stuff.
Yeah. So when you got there, what was the job lined up? Where you said you're staying with different people, or were they British? Where are they from?
Yeah, they were Kiwis. So I just I was applying for house shares in West Auckland. So Auckland, huge city, nowhere near the size of London, but it's the biggest in New Zealand. What I found when I got out there was, although it was a big city, the infrastructure wasn't that great. It had scaled its city, but it hadn't scaled the infrastructure around it.
How long ago was this?
Oh, 2016? Yeah, 8 years ago. I mean, things will have changed now. So I was living out in West Auckland. It didn't have like that much of its own identity. So, you know, if you go to different boroughs of London, it has its own vibe, doesn't it? And it has its own.
There's not many people in New Zealand, is there?
I'm not sure of the population, but it is. I mean, it is a small country, so I probably had unfair expectations. But I was, at the time in the UK, I was working for a hospice as an events fundraiser. So we'd organise like mass participation events to raise money for charities. So I got a job doing that. People I worked with were really nice, but I was told, and I didn't appreciate this until I saw it in action, there's parts of New Zealand that can feel like it's 10 years behind the UK, and that job was one where I'd experienced that.
And how does it feel like it's 10 years behind?
Well, in that role in particular, it was just not as open to some of like the newer ideas that you would come up with to help raise money, adopting technology as a means to do that. So you just felt like, well, at the time personally, I felt like I was kind of pushing against a wall.
Okay. Were you, did you see any Maoris?
When I was in Wellington, New Zealand, so...
What's the capital?
Wellington, yeah.
Okay.
So when I worked at the museum, the museum's bilingual, and it really cherishes its Maori heritage. So everything is in English, and then Te Reo, which is a Maori language. They would perform, and it's embedded in the culture. So you would have different ceremonies that are associated with the Maori culture. So you know, a haka. We had repatriation of I think it was some Captain Cook artifacts back to New Zealand as the homeland, and they perform a Maori celebration or a welcoming, I guess.
Was Captain Cook a good guy?
He was an explorer, so he kind of classic case of people.
Do the Maoris? Yeah, do the Maoris like him? Oh, so wait a minute. Is it the stuff that he nicked and brought to England?
Yeah.
And they're bringing it back?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's the Maori stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I thought you were celebrating him coming back. Right.
No, sorry.
Right,
sorry.
Yeah, right. No way.
So it was all the cultural bits that he nicked. It was, repatriation of those artifacts back to the homeland ultimately. So that was really cool. Like, you would never get to... So I got to see hackers performed, like, from me to you, distance away, which, until I'd watched...
When you say hackers, what do you mean? The people fighting with sticks?
Well, you know, like on the rugby...
When they go...
Yeah.
Oh, is that them? I thought it was Australians.
No, yeah, New Zealand.
No, New
All
Zealand.
Blacks.
Oh, yeah, All Blacks, New Zealand. Okay, yeah.
So
yeah.
the only time I'd been that close to it was watching the All Blacks play rugby.
And what did you think? What was going through your mind when you saw them doing it?
It was weirdly, well, not weirdly, but it was very emotional because you could see the emotion that was going through the people who were performing. So I found myself actually welling up because people were crying. Like it had the history of the ancestors so embedded in the Maori people.
Did they have those sticks? The hand-to-hand combat sticks, the long sticks, like a paddle? I think they maybe did. I'm trying to remember. I think they maybe did just for the ceremonial purposes. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I got to experience that culture probably closer than others may have just by working at the museum. So it was kind of a privilege, to be honest.
So that was the museum. What was everyday life like for you?
It was good. It was. I lived near a beach.
The beach cold?
It
wasn't like Brighton Beach, was it?
No. Winter times is a little bit windy and wet, but summer times, it's probably kicking up 35 degrees.
Okay.
So it's not as hot as like Australia. Have great coffee, meet cool people, go and work at the museum, and
okay. All right.
Yeah.
We're coming to the end of the journey. It's a great interview again. What would be your advice to a young person who's going to go and move to New Zealand for do the 2 years break?
Do it. Don't hesitate. Yeah. Save up. So make a plan, but definitely go through with it.
What should the plan consist of?
No way you're going to live, but kind of be open to moving around as well. Explore as much as possible. I wish I'd done more exploring. So maybe my advice would be save up a huge chunk of money, go over there, spend some time exploring before working, or at least factor that into your plans more than what I did. Always, one thing I was always told, always have a spare $20 note in your pocket. Maybe not needed as much now that we're all of our cards are on our phone, but it's weird to think that even then that wasn't the case. You still just had a physical bank card. So if you lose your phone or your bank card, I was always told have $20 hiding somewhere so you can get home.
That's good.
Yeah.
Thank you. I was going to ask you one last question, but my mind went blank there. But thanks a lot for that.
Thank you.
And we wish you well.
Thank you very much.